Hi there everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. This time taking a look at the new legendary hero that is going to be dropped into the game in just a few short days. Got the trailer pulled up here, ready to play, so let's just get right into things and see who it is. Alright. A new legendary hero joins the battle. And that is... oh, it's Shez. Okay, Sharpest Blades. Alright. Female Shez. So that... she is a blue dagger unit. Ashura Blades. Glimmer Swift Slice. Ooh, a new A-slot skill exclusive to her. Seal Speed 4. So it is going to be female Shez. Not really that long after we got the normal pool Shez's. Because it wasn't that... It was definitely within the last half year or so, right? So, okay. Well, I guess it's a logical thing. I mean, they kind of want to get her included sooner rather than later. I mean, again, they want to kind of prep themselves, I think, for like Engage. I'm sure and so they want to get rid of kind of like the backlog of heroes that they haven't yet included, especially for a title like Three Hopes. So I suppose that makes some sense. 8% on the banner. Didn't even pay attention to the characters that were being shown there. Going to be on the 22nd until the 9th. And then, of course, there is the Spark for those that have a FE pass. Alright, so, going to be female Shez, Sharpest Blades, going to be a blue dagger unit, so, yeah, a lot of interesting twists and turns here. That's quite interesting. So it does look like the banner is going to be around for over 2 weeks, actually, interestingly enough. So it ends on the 9th of January, so into the new year. So let's take a closer look at Shez here. She had some skills that obviously are brand new, so let's take a look. So Shez is going to be a blue dagger infantry unit. Her unique weapon is Ashura Blades. Might 8, grant speed plus 5. Out of the gate, just grant speed plus 5. That's okay. Unit attacks twice, so it has a brave effect even if foe initiates combat. Alright, on either phase. Neutralizes penalties on unit during combat, just straight up, no conditions there. If unit speed is greater than foe speed, grant special cooldown charge plus 1 to unit per attack during combat. Then, of course, also has the Dagger 7 effect, so the debuff to defensive stats. Okay, alright, that's quite an effective dagger. So neutralizes penalties on unit during combat is a short and sweet statement, but it does and means so much. So effectively, she's not going to have to worry about any debuffs at all to her damage output or her stat line whatsoever, including panic or anything like that. So it's only during combat, so any debuff effects that she might be feeling outside of combat will remain, but everything else just gets flat out neutralized. And that's quite a powerful thing. And it also has longevity, because going forward, as we get additional debuffs that would be inflicted and impact the performance of the unit in combat, she's just never going to have to worry about that type of stuff. So this is kind of the type of weapon effect or skill effect that has a lot of longevity to it. So that's quite powerful. Obviously, it's a brave weapon. Those, generally speaking, aren't really never bad. And then the fact that it's speed plus 5, it looks like she's going to be a quadder where possible. Looks like she's going to have some substantial speed. And so if unit speed is greater than foe speed, she gets additional special charge. She has Glimmer at a 2-turn cooldown. Doesn't get any killer or slaying effect as part of her weapon, but the additional charge that she gets from meeting that speed condition means that she's going to get an insta charge of Glimmer whenever she attacks on player phase or enemy phase. Swift Slice for the A-slot is her own unique A-slot skill. If unit initiates combat, or if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, super easy condition to meet, grants plus 8 to all stats during combat. Jeez, okay. If unit initiates combat against a non-dragon or non-beast infantry foe, and unit speed is greater than or equal to foe speed plus 20, grants effective against all weapon types to unit during combat? Otherwise, if unit initiates combat and unit speed is greater than or equal to foe speed plus 5, grants effective against all weapon types to unit during combat. So the first effect alone is honestly pretty darn good. The fact that she gets +8 to all of her stats as an in-combat buff just by being within 2 spaces of an ally is really, really good. So the secondary part of the A slot is that she gets effective against all weapon types to unit during combat, and the condition for this changes based upon the type of enemy that she's facing. So if it's going to be an infantry unit that does not have a beast or a dragon weapon, they're not a beast or a dragon, and they're infantry, she actually has to have equal to or greater than her foe speed +20 in order to meet that condition. However, everybody else, it's just +5. So that's really interesting. That actually means that she's going to have a little bit of a harder time meeting this condition against just standard infantry units. Everybody else, which is a huge amount of units in the game, she only has to have speed equal to or greater than +5, her opponent's speed, and she gets effective against all weapon types during combat. So it seems like she'll be able to pretty easily meet that condition against the majority of enemies in the game, which is great for her. Seal speed 4 for the B slot. Inflicts speed -4 on foe during combat, and if no effect neutralizes penalties to foe's speed, inflicts penalty on foe's speed during combat equal to 7 minus current penalty on foe's speed. If penalty is active on foe's speed, inflicts cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat. So this is, I had misinterpreted this back when Seal Res 4 was introduced and thought that it would stack. Really what this reads into is that effectively you're going to get -11 to the respective stat, irrespective of the current penalty that's active on the enemy, because it's going to scale with that. It's going to adjust itself based upon whatever the current penalty that the foe is suffering for that stat. So you're going to enjoy -11 speed on the enemy, which is going to be great for her because that's also going to help her meet the condition for her Swift Slice. So she's effectively going to get -11 speed on the enemy, which is going to be really great for her to help her meet the condition for both Swift Slice and Ashura Blades. Attack speed Oath 4 for the C slot. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed +6. And following status to unit for 1 turn, unit can move to a space adjacent to any ally within 2 spaces. And if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed +3 to unit during combat. Very, very strong overall, not only granting yourself a self-drive effect for your offensive stats, but also enabling an activated buff to those stats at the start of combat, as well as warping teleportation shenanigans. So all of that packaged together means it's going to be pretty annoying to deal with, and it feels like there is some cohesion overall to the kit as a whole. So overall, the most impressive and unique effect that Shez brings to the table is this effective against all weapon types component to her Swift Slice, her unique A-slot skill. Beyond that, it seems like she's going to be a little bit, pretty run-of-the-mill as far as a Brave Dagger unit, but she's going to play that role very, very successfully, given the fact that Swift Slice is going to boost her stats to an ungodly degree, also give her that effective damage, and then she's also going to be able to quad because she's going to have that increased speed. She's going to do it on player and enemy phase. She's going to get additional speed built into her weapon, and then obviously she's going to be able to debuff the enemy speed as well, kind of all synergizing and making sure that she procs the effect for both Ashura Blades and Swift Slice to make sure that she gets her special charge and proc that Glimmer as well. So again, it's going to be really, really powerful. The effective against all weapon types element to her kit is pretty unique, and it is going to be potent, and there may even be justification for giving her the Phantom Speed seal, since so much of her kit relies on that speed check. Basically, every unique component to her kit relies on the speed check. So there might be an argument to be made for equipping her with Phantom Speed. So yeah, overall, pretty nice stuff. And then there she is. I love the fact that she glows. The attacking animation is really cool. Does that little pirouette and spin and tosses the blades at her opponent. Quite powerful. And then Glimmer. Yeah. So quite strong, and of course she was going to be quadding there. So let's actually take a closer look here. So we've got Legendary Lilina, we've got Claude here, Sigurd as well, Medeus, okay. Got Legendary Myrrh, is that Brave Crom? It's Brave Crom. Tiki, who else? That's Brave Tiki, Brave Byleth. So we are getting the Choose Your Legends characters here. We got Ninian, Legendary Ninian, we got Sather, okay. So Shez is going to be debuting as a blue unit, and alongside her as fellow blue focus units are going to be Myrrh, so Legendary Myrrh, and we've got Brave Crom. So Choose Your Legends Chrom is in there too. Now, Chrom is really, really powerful, really strong. I'll knock points just because if you are in the regular summon pool, you're not limited in any way. So you could be a focus breaker or a pity breaker at any point for any future banner. And so that being said, it's a little bit easier to get those units rather than the actual exclusive legendary and mythic heroes. So it's interesting that they did include Brave Chrom in this color for the debut color, because usually for these banners, they really super stack the debut color. Now, that being said, I'm not trying to shortchange Chrom at all. He's an amazing, amazing unit. I'm just thinking from the perspective of him being a limited unit versus not a limited unit. I don't think you're going to be upset. Anybody's going to be upset at getting additional copies of Chrom, but I'm just kind of putting that out there. Obviously, legendary Myrrh is quite strong. Shez herself, we just talked about, has a lot of potent potential. So it's going to be a very powerful color for sure. Maybe not the no-brainer that a lot of the debut colors tend to be, but let's take a look at the other colors that are available here. So on green, we actually have Sather, we have legendary Ninian, and we have... who is the third? Oh, Tiki. Brave Tiki. Okay, so once again, we got the Choose Your Legends units cooked in here as well. I mean, that's a damn good color as well. The only thing that kind of holds it back is the fact that Sather, despite being an amazing unit, everybody got her for free. And then she also debuted with her own focus rate up banner, where she had a much better rate than she is going to have on this particular banner. That being said, this is still going to be kind of the standard availability for her going forward. But I think if a lot of people wanted multiple copies of her, they may have already gotten multiple copies of her at this point. Brave Tiki, again, fantastic unit. I think some people will erroneously argue that she is already overshadowed by her Ascended Young version. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but that being said, she's still very, very powerful. But I think it's the availability component to this that might bring green down a little bit. And on the colorless side, we have Medeus. We've got Legendary. I think that's Legendary Claude. I'm pretty sure that's Legendary Claude. And then we've got Byleth. So once again, there is going to be a normal pool character as a colorless focus unit here. But again, quite a very, very powerful one as well. Claude, a little bit on the older side these days, but still quite powerful. Medeus has that unique capability and shuts down Kanto in a big way. Yeah, so each of them have their strengths that they bring to the table. I think it's still a strong color for sure. And then red, we've got all cavalry. We actually have Sigurd, we have Seliph, and we have Lilina. All blue-haired cavalry legendary units. Now, despite the appeal and the value of the exclusivity of these units, because they are all limited heroes, and so therefore can really only be gotten from legendary hero banners, rarely outside of those, you would think that this would kind of skyrocket this color and value, but Lilina and Seliph are actually on the older side. That's not to say that they don't have value. I mean, Sigurd is just as dumb and annoying as when he first came out, despite the addition of some counters that they've incorporated into the game. That being said, I mean, he's still very, very powerful. Seliph as well can hold his own. Lilina still really, really strong as an AoE special nuker and an offensive powerhouse. So they still bring that heat to the table as a whole. That being said, they're on the older side. A lot of these common pool units are on the newer side and have new skills that are available, new skill fodder, even if you don't want to use that particular unit. So there's a lot of value there as well. Honestly, I feel like the colors are pretty even on this banner. As always, it comes down to what your barracks doesn't have and what your barracks needs. I think you can make the argument that green is a slightly lower value just because Sather had a better banner and is just more available in general. But even that, I mean, it's not by much. And then I think maybe red, you could argue, is slightly lower. But so once again, Shez is going to be debuting on the 22nd of September. And again, going for about 2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks, in fact. For me personally, I don't really feel that compelled to summon hard on this banner. I am missing a couple of units here and there, but not really any major targets. And as far as the Choose Your Legends batch, I'm not like that excited to see them in here. They're really strong. It's great to get additional copies of them. But even if you wanted the Choose Your Legends units or multiple copies, you'd have better rates, going on their individual banner rather than going on this one. Now that being said, there's something to be said about having them as a quote-unquote consolation prize, because they're pretty darn good consolation prizes if they're not exactly the legendary pure that you were going for on that color. But let me know in the comments below, first of all, if you're excited for Shez Sharpest Blades to be introduced into the game as a legendary hero. Again, not that far from their actual debut in the game as regular heroes. And let me know if you're going to be summoning on this banner. I think I personally am just going to be doing the first full circle, which I typically do on Legendary and Mythic Hero banners when I don't decide to go in hard. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.